Chicks with dicks, high fives and bars, guys. Uncle Jay Shuffleboson here. This one's kind of funny, haha, story about the time that I used to work at a mall in Thousand Oaks called the Oaks Mall in 1990. I want to say 94, 95, going into 97. I used to be the manager of the arcade there, and that was probably the best job I ever had, because I love video games. And it had the Afterburner from Sega, Afterburner 2, the cabinet that moved around when you're in it and shit. I had Killer Instinct, I had Samurai Showdown. It had all kinds of fucking shit in there. It was awesome. It was a fun fucking job. And because it's in the mall, like all I got was tons of ones, fives, and $10 bills and stuff for people wanting quarters to play games. So naturally, almost every single merchant at the mall, whenever they get like $100 bills and they didn't have any change left to give the customers, when they get that stuff from sales, they'd send somebody over to me and say, hey, take these two $100 bills and ask the guy at the arcade for some 10s and 5s. So I got that on the regular, almost every day, a lot. And a lot of these people that worked in the mall, they'd also come over on their breaks and play the arcade games that were in my arcade. And I got used to some of the people coming. I'm like, oh, this guy works at Dillard's. Oh, this guy works at Radio Shack. Oh, she works over at Hot Dog on a Stick. This guy works at the pizza place. And so I started hooking them up. When I'd see them come in, I'd say, hey, how's it going? And I'd go to the arcade that they wanted to play, and I'd go in there and I'd toggle the settings to free play. That way the coin counter wasn't moving. And so corporate never knew this shit. So these guys got to play for free, and they would hook me up with their employee discount or whatever store they worked at. Within several months, I ran this, it's like a mob style operation there in this fucking mall. I never paid for lunch. I got free movies from the movie theater. Everything was free. It was hooked because I was hooking them up, and it was fucking cool. It was really cool. Like the bookstore, I got discounts on books. The music store, free albums and stuff. It was awesome. One day, Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate showed up, and I put it in the Primal Rage cabinet that had a powered subwoofer, and I got that thing hooked up. That's called a conversion kit, for you guys that don't know. And so that thing was just fucking blasting. You could hear that game halfway down to the food court, and it was drawing in everybody. There was a crowd there. So many people were going nuts over it, playing it. It was such an awesome time. And then I started doing tournaments, for Killer Instinct, Samurai Showdown, Mortal Kombat, even after hours for people. I'd just roll down the cage, and we'd all just fucking blast that thing full volume, have a tournament and stuff, have fun. And the funny thing was some of the people that worked security there at the mall, they were in on it and they wanted to play, so they let us do it. Anyway, so this one gal, she came in and she was dressed nice. She wasn't wearing a jeans and t-shirt like you'd think a customer would go into the mall. She looked like she worked from somewhere, and she had $300 bills in her hand. And I knew she needed change. She worked somewhere. I've never seen her before, but she obviously worked in the mall. And I heard her say, "Can I get change?" And I'm like, yeah. And there's Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate's going nuts. It's super loud. Everybody's playing it. And so I'm trying to give her some change. And I said, "Where do you work at?" And she tells me where she works at, but I can't really hear her. So I go, "What?" And she says it again. And I'm like, no fucking way. Did I just hear that right? No fucking way. So I go, what? I have to sound like fucking Little John, Dave Chappelle. And she says it again. I'm like, nah, no way. So I said one more time, what? And she told me, she yelled it this time, and I could have sworn I heard her say this, and I said, "You work at Chicks with Dicks?" And she had a look of shock on her face. I'm like, hang on. So I get everybody out of the way. Move. And I get inside the cabinet, and I turn the volume down on the game. I said, "Where do you work at?" And she said, "I work at Wicks and Sticks. It's a candle store. It's not a store called Chicks with Dicks, you fucking Neanderthal." I'm like, "Oh, sorry. Here's your money." So I changed out the three $100 bills. And I said, "You like playing video games?" And she said, "No, I hate video games." I'm like, shit, that kind of sucks. Because I'd hook you up for nothing if I get an employee discount. She's like, "No." Then she noticed a skee ball machine. She's like, "Is that skee ball?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, that's skee ball." And she said, "Come by later, we'll talk." So I ended up getting a discount over at Wicks and Sticks. It's not called Chicks with Dicks. So I made a very bad mistake. There's a misunderstanding. That's all that was. And pretty fucking embarrassing for me. But anyway, that's my story about working at the arcade. And yeah. Fucking great job. Loved it. And then eventually, like, the arcade closed. People don't go to arcades anymore. But, there's some barcades opening up where they serve drinks, cocktails, beer, and they have the classics there. You can go and play video games and stuff. And if there's one in your area, please go support it because those things need to stick around. So, all right, guys. High fives and boners. Check out my Twitch. Check out my shit down below. And I will see you later. Bye.